Okay, Erev Tov. Thank you guys for coming. Really appreciate it. So the title of the shiur, as we put on the flyer, was Elul climbing the mountain of Teshuva. Bezrat Hashem. We talked about Selichot, and now we're in Elul. It's finally here. It's funny. The transition is always like summer straight to Selichot. It's like the most chilled time, and then it's like Selichot. We're in there already. Especially for us Sfaradim, the Ashkenazim, they don't have Selichot till later, but we get full 40 days. Baruch Hashem, Baruch Hashem. So sometimes we like to start with a joke, but the joke will also have a connection here. So there was a person that he unfortunately was a drunk, and he used to drink a lot, and one day he wakes up and he sees his wife isn't there. Kids aren't there, and he realizes like he lost everything, like that. She finds a note. That's it. We're done. Your drinking got to the next level. I can't take it anymore. I'm out of here. And he's so upset, and he finds the box of all of the empty bottles of beer, and he's like, it's your fault. He screams at the beer, it's your fault. And he goes to the backyard. And he takes a bottle and he throws it at the wall. He says, "This is your fault," And he takes the next boy and says, "I lost my job because of you. I lost my wife because of you." The next one says, "I lost my kids because of you." And he takes the bottles and he's smashing against the wall. And he lifts up the bottle, and the bottle was closed. It was full. He says, "You weren't involved in this one. It's not because of you that I got drunk." Yeah, just the other ones. So, when it comes to Teshuva, we do a lot of lip service, we do a lot of prayer, we do a lot of tefillah. But what changing is the actual difficult part. That's where we have to see, where am I going wrong? Where can I better myself? And the actual doing something about it and changing, not like the guy in our story, right? That's the difficult part. We started blowing the shofar today. That's the Dichot. Ashkenazim also start blowing the shofar today also at the end of the tefillah. One time at the end of the tefillah in Elul. Yeah. Shofar is from the word, like the word shiprut, but it's leshaper. Shipur means to fix oneself. So shipru ma'asechem, from the word shofar, fix your actions, change your actions, and look where can I benefit. That's one of the hints of the shofar. We know, of course, Elul stands for ani ledodi v'dodi li. I am to my beloved, and my beloved is to me. And this is where we have the very strong connection to Hashem. Hashem says, "You're my children, you're my flock, I'm here for you, you're here for me." We have a very, very close relationship, a close connection, and we have the ability to be the closest during this time. Another hint to the word Elul is we say in the Megillat Esther, when it talks about the Mishloch Manot and Matanot Le'Evyonim, it says, Mishloch Manot ish le're'ehu u'matanot le'evyonim. Ish, it starts with an aleph. Le're'ehu is with a lamed. U'matanot is a vav, la'evyonim, to the poor. So you give presents to your friend and money to the poor. And the heading, the acronym is Elul, meaning there's also between man and man. How we also have to fix our actions between man and man. That's what Elul is also all about. And therefore, we have two types of teshuvah that we have to be focusing on. The two types of teshuvah between mitzvot, between me and Hashem, and between man and man. Recently, someone asked me a question, and someone said, "Rabbi, I don't get it. A person could steal from someone and then come on Yom Kippur and say, 'I'm sorry,' and it gets off." I said, "No, it doesn't work like that. It works between Yom Kippur helps for avera between man and Hashem. The person ate non-kosher, and now he has to say sorry. That's between, he didn't affect anybody else. It's between him and Hashem. But you stole something from someone, you affected someone else. You need to pay the money back, ask him for forgiveness and ask Hashem for forgiveness. And Hashem also commanded not to steal. So, okay, I tell Hashem, I'm sorry for stealing. You only fulfilled part of that, but you have to fulfill the other part, which is paying the person back. And therefore, mitzvot between man and man, Yom Kippur doesn't help. You have to actually go and ask for forgiveness and make sure that you rectify that situation. And therefore, now in Elul, when we're looking at our actions, we're trying to make ourselves better. We have to look at our actions between man and Hashem and man to man. So we are at the start of Elul, and we're going to get to Rosh Hashanah, which is Judgment Day, Yom HaDin. And in advance of a judgment, we prepare ourselves for the judgment. So if a person has a court case, you don't go to the court without a lawyer, unprepared. You prepare yourself beforehand to make sure that you win the case. So too now, we're in Elul, we have to prepare ourselves. And that was the start of Sedichot, Shofar. We have to start preparing ourselves. So the thing is that if we get an idea of what the judgment is about, then we'll be able to prepare ourselves better. What do I mean? What's the judgment about? So there's a Mishnah in Masechet Rosh Hashanah that says that on Rosh Hashanah, we pass, the entire world passes in front of Hashem, ki bnei maron. That's what the terminology that the Mishnah says. We pass in front of Hashem, ki bnei maron. What does bnei maron mean? So the Gemara gives three explanations to bnei maron. The first explanation is sheep. Bnei maron means sheep. We pass in front of Hashem like sheep in front of the owner when it counts the sheep. You know, when a person has to give maaser behema, which means 10% of his new animals, his new flock, meaning let's say he inherited 100 sheep, and now so he has to give 10%. He has to give 10 sheep, or let's say in year 2, that 100 produced, let's say 100 sheep also. So that new 100 children, sheep that were born, you have to give 10%. So how do you count the 100 when you're trying to count them? They're moving around. It's hard to count sheep if everything's moving. So what they would do is they would kind of put a makeshift fence. They would move them all to one side. Then they make a makeshift fence in between, and they'd push the animals through one by one. They'd be in a single file one by one, and they would count 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, and the 10th one they would strike it with red paint, so they would know that that's the 10th one. And again, they'd keep on going 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 9, 10, and the 10th one they'd put some red paint on it. So the first explanation is that we pass in front of Hashem on Rosh Hashanah like sheep. Okay, that's the first explanation. We'll have to understand what that means. The second explanation, Bnei Maron, the Gemara says that's compared to Bnei Charon, same type of wording, which is in comparison to a climbing of a mountain. Sometimes on a mountain, you're also single file. It's so thin that you're going up and it's single file. So the Gemara is saying we pass in front of Hashem like people that climb a mountain in single file. And the third explanation, Bnei Maron, is like soldiers, that the general walks by the soldiers that are lined up in single file. He walks by them all and he sees them all. And the Mishnah ends with saying the words V'kulam b'skira achat, and everyone is seen also in one glance. So there's talking about two things over here that's going on Rosh Hashanah. We're basically going in front of Hashem in single file and in one glance. So let's explain these three comparisons, because they're all really, it sounds the same. The sheep, single file, the soldiers, those third example, single file, and climbing up a mountain like single file. So what's the difference between each of these three? Where it says that on Rosh Hashanah we pass in front of Hashem like sheep and like soldiers and like climbing a mountain. And then it says, and we're all looked at like in one glance. So, hi, how are you? How's it going? Sit down, join us. I'm doing a little bit of a different thing today. I'm recording something different. If it's okay to record the shiur. So just bringing you up to date. We're quoting the Gemara on Masechah Rosh Hashanah, and there it says that on Rosh Hashanah we pass in front of Hashem like sheep, like soldiers, and like climbing up a mountain where it's a single file. And then it says, and we're all looked at like in one glance, in one viewing altogether. So actually, most of this shiur I actually learned from many years ago. Rabbi Zev Leff Shlita is a great rabbi that used to be a rabbi in Miami for many years, and now he lives in Eretz Yisrael. He's the rabbi of Moshav Matetyahu, an American Israeli Moshav. He moved out there also many years ago. He's a big Talmid Chacham, and a lot of these explanations come from that shiur, which was an amazing shiur. So Rav Zev Lev explains that these three explanations, like we pass in front of Hashem on Rosh Hashanah like sheep, like soldiers, and like climbing up a thin mountain pass, is not an argument among these explanations, but rather they're all three different aspects of the judgment of Rosh Hashanah. So let's go into one by one, which is talking about the sheep. So a owner of a shepherd, when he checks his sheep, number one, he counts them to see that they're there, that they didn't die, that they didn't run away. He every so often counts his sheep to make sure that they're there. Another thing he does is he checks if they're healthy. He checks his sheep. Are they healthy? Are they eating enough? Are they drinking enough? And the third thing is it checks its sheep if it has its brand on the sheep. Back in the day, they would take this hot metal branding where it would have Azulai family sheep or whatever, right? And they would brand the sheep with it. So nowadays they have different methods. Maybe they have like pins in the ear, different colored things in the ear that they could tell belongs to this person, that person. So the owner, in addition to check, is it here, is it alive, is it present? Number two, checks if it's healthy. Number three, checks, does it have my brand on it? Or do I have a different brand sheep in my flock and I have to give it back to the neighbor, I have to give it to someone else? So too, when it comes on Rosh Hashanah for Judgment Day, number one is Hashem sees if we're present. Are we there at shul? Are we connected to Him? Are we present? That's number one. Are we there? Number two is, are we healthy? How committed are we to the mitzvot? Are we somewhat committed? How healthy are we in doing Hashem's Torah mitzvot? And number three is, do we have the branding of Hashem on us? Do we represent Hashem? Do we represent the Torah? Are we living a life following Hashem's will? And when others from other nations see us, do they say, oh, that's a good Jewish person, right? Or do we blend among the others and we're not noticeable? Meaning, do we have the brand of Hashem? So that is a connection to us being looked at as like sheep on the day of Judgment Day. The second explanation is that we're like soldiers. The second explanation was that we're like climbing up a mountain. Now, when it comes to climbing a mountain, it's a very thin, a very thin way. And maybe you could even have, let's say, one direction this way, one direction that way, very, very, very thin, and to pass the other one is very, very thin. So what's the connection to Judgment Day? The connection to judgment is the following: that when it comes to a mountain, there are some people in this line that are higher than other people. Some people are higher than other people in this mountain climb. So now, when it comes to our judgment, Hashem is judging us and saying, okay, where are you on the mountain? How high are you on the mountain? How low are you on the mountain? So that's number one. Another thing is, which direction are you going on the mountain? Are you going up the mountain or are you going down the mountain? I don't know if Rachel, if you remember, but when we took our daughter to Beis Yaakov, we had an interview, and the lady told us about that the rule is that the mother wears tights. That's part of the tzniut. The mother wears tights, And she told us about one time a mother complained and said, "Oh, well, that so-and-so lady doesn't wear tights. Why do you always bother me?" The principal was telling us the story. She said a lady complained that she was being bothered, that they told her, "Mother, you're dropping off your kids at school, you still have to wear tights." She said, "Well, why are you bothering me? Look at that lady, she doesn't wear tights." So the principal said, "There's a big difference. You are a Beis Yaakov graduate. You come from a home of Beit Yaakov. You should know better. That lady, just 2 years ago, was not even religious. And now, Baruch Hashem, she's growing and growing. She's wearing skirts. She's getting dressed modestly. Okay, she's not wearing tights yet, but it's on the way. It's coming." So we have to look at it and see, where is our arrow pointing? Are we going up in our Judaism, or are we going down in our Judaism? So this lady, she says, okay, she was also wearing skirts. She's also covering up. Hold on a second. She used to wear tights and now doesn't, unfortunately. So her arrow is going down. And the other one, her arrow is going up. So we have to look at ourselves. Where are we on the mountain? Are we going up? Or unfortunately, are we going down? And we have to also look at looking at ourselves. Where are we on the mountain? Where's our arrow pointing? In addition, there's a pasuk that calls Bnei Israel mehalchim ben haomdim. We are people that walk among those that are stand still. Among those that stand still. Why are we compared to people that walk? Who's those that stand still? The explanation is the malachim, the angels, are actually called omdim. They stand still. We, Bnei Israel, are holchim. We walk. What does that mean? The malachim stand still because, hi, how are you? Welcome. I hope it's okay. I'm doing this new thing here, recording. So you can sit right here, or you can sit here.
I don't want to be able to.
No, you're not. I'm not recording that way. I'm recording this way. No, I'm recording this way. So we're talking about Rosh Hashanah. We're talking about the judgment of Rosh Hashanah and how the Gemara compares the judgment to us being like sheep, being like people climbing a mountain, and being like soldiers, and bringing you up to speed. And being like sheep that are counted are in single file, people climbing up a thin mountain, going up in single file, and also a general that walks by his soldiers to count them is also single file. So they're all similar examples, yet each is giving us a different aspect and angle to the judgment. So sheep, just to quickly review, is the owner, number one, counts a sheep. He sees if his sheep are healthy, and he sees if it has the brand of his sheep on if it's branded by him. He's the owner. So too, when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, Hashem sees, number one, are we present? Are we at shul? Are we present in his Torah and his life? Number two is, are we healthy? How healthy are we in respect to doing his mitzvot? Number three, do we carry his brand? Are we noticeably Jewish? Are we his brand? Second is like people climbing up a mountain where it's a thin line. So number one, there's people higher and there's people lower. So where are you on the mountain? And which direction are you going? Are you going up or are you going down in the mountain of Hashem's mitzvot? And the third, so on that point, where we're up to now is angels are called idle. They stand. They're omdim. They stay in one spot. We are me'alchim. We go. Angels are compared to staying in one spot because they don't have the ability to grow. They don't have mitzvot. They don't have Torah. They don't have the ability to change, to become better, etc. But we, Bnei Israel, we have the ability to grow. We have the ability to change. We have the ability to move. And therefore, we're always supposed to be moving. If you put this table under a microscope, you'll see its molecules. Things are moving all the time. And therefore, the whole world is moving, the earth is spinning, things are moving. We're meant to move, we're meant to change, we're meant to advance ourselves. We're not meant to stay in one spot all the time. Some people make good move to Eretz Yisrael, Bezrat Hashem, we all be zocheh, Bezrat Hashem. She's moving to Israel tomorrow. Yeah. Ezrat Hashem, Ezrat Hashem, Ezrat Hashem. So we have to be on the move, and we have to be in the right direction. My Rabbi Gabriel Ginsburg, Zechat Tzedek Livracha, he was the past Rosh Yeshiva of Ner Israel. I was very fortunate to be at his grave, at his kever, this past trip when I was just in Israel. And I was at his funeral 23 years ago in Israel. And at the time of the funeral, I was there, but I didn't know how to go back, and I never went back since. And I knew where it was, Har Menuchot, but Har Menuchot is a world, and to find it. But this time I was with Rabbi Yesayag, and he told me where it was, and it was big zechut to be at his kever. So he explains. He would always give this example, and he would say that life is like a downward escalator. It's always going down, but you are trying to go up that escalator. If you just stay in one spot, you're going to keep on going down. You got to keep on putting that effort to try to continue to go up. And therefore, sometimes you two steps forward, but it's pulling you down a little bit. But keep on going, and that's what it's all about. The third comparison is that we're compared to soldiers, and when we look at soldiers, every soldier has a purpose. Every soldier has a purpose. It's the guy that's peeling the potatoes, to the driver, to the guy on the front lines, to the people in the air, to people on the sea. Everyone has his purpose, and therefore, number one is each and every one of us have our purpose. Yeah, Mama, I know. Everyone have each and every one of us have our purpose, and when it comes to Judgment Day, Hashem says, "Are you fulfilling your purpose?" So now the question is, well, what is my purpose? Okay, I have to do Torah and mitzvot, but is there something more specific for me? So Rabbi Zev Leff, who I said I heard a lot of this shiur from, he said that one time he went to visit someone that's sick, and the person said to him, "Rabbi, how do I know I'm going now? How do I know if I did my purpose?" And he told him that Hashem gave us a big Torah with 613 mitzvot, many mitzvot. If you follow the path of Torah and mitzvot, then you did your purpose. And Hashem's going to guide you to, some people are more inclined to chesed, some people are more inclined to Torah learning, some people are more inclined to giving free loans to someone, to giving a helping hand, to visiting the sick. There's so many mitzvot, to bringing guests into their house. And if we could specialize in one and find that one, some people love Sukkot, and they go crazy over Sukkot. Some people love Pesach, and they go crazy over Pesach. And that's like their thing, or their thing is Chanukah, and or their thing is Purim, right? So we have so many opportunities to make one of the mitzvot, or many of the mitzvot, like our thing. And a person could go down in their history at the end of the night. This was like, they loved all the Torah, but this was like their thing. And that could very well be our tachlit, our purpose. When we follow the Torah mitzvot, we'll develop a love. That's why we say that here, Ba'alahem Torah mitzvot, Hashem gave us many mitzvot for us to connect. If we just had 10 mitzvot, then I don't like those 10. Then you were stuck. No, 613. You're gonna like
you'll
them.
Find something.
You're gonna find something. You're gonna connect to. You'll be connected. Exactly.
You have to find something.
Yeah. So we don't have nevi'im today. We don't have prophets. Back in the day, you go to a prophet and you say, "Okay, this exact thing is your purpose." We don't have that, but we have, of course, the Torah mitzvot. We follow the Torah mitzvot. We're gonna be guided to our purpose, and therefore, as soldiers, each soldier has their own purpose, their specific purpose, their specific unique role, and therefore, when it comes to Rosh Hashanah, Hashem's going to say, "Okay, you're fulfilling your role. You're in your purpose." I once also asked my Rosh Hashiva, Rabbi Greenberger, the co-Rosh Hashiva of Ner Israel. I said, sometimes a person might feel that, like, well, okay, I'm special, I'm Jewish, but there's so many other Jews, and yeah, why? What's unique about me? And he said that, when we received the Torah at Har Sinai, so some envision that Har Sinai, we were it was like the mountain, like we were one side, but we were actually around the mountain. We were actually all around the mountain. And you could picture, let's say, people standing around a mountain, and you're standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder. When I'm looking at this mountain, I'm seeing this angle. When you're looking, you're seeing here, you're seeing here, you're seeing here. We're all seeing a different spot. Even the person right beside me sees a little bit of a different angle than I see. And therefore, it's like if you cut that into thin slices of a pie, everybody has a different slice. Not necessarily a different size, but a different vantage point. And therefore, we each have our purpose in the Torah mitzvot like that. We're unique. Each and everyone, you don't have the vantage point I have. You're standing here, you're standing there, I'm standing there. You don't have this is from the Maharal, from my Rebbe, my Greenberg. It gave me so much, like the way you're feeling now, like it gave me so much, like wow, like yeah, like this is my purpose. Like this is I have my purpose, and so sometimes the tzaddikim, like they're huge. They fulfill so much, right? Sometimes, unfortunately, if a person didn't fulfill his purpose, there's room to take more slices, some leftovers, gonna get some of that, right? So the tzaddik, that he fulfills like 10 purposes, unfortunately people didn't, do their thing, right? So we each have our purpose, and on Rosh Hashanah we're looked at and seeing, are we fulfilling our purpose? Now we also mentioned that when it comes to Judgment Day, we're also looked at in one glance, meaning we're looked at like sheep, like climbing a mountain, like soldiers, but we're all looked at like in one group. What's that all about? And the answer there is that, and I like to mention this to keep a perspective of each and every one of us. We don't live in our own bubble as a singular Jew, as a singular person, but rather we are a communal Jew as well. We are part of Bnei Israel. And therefore, our mission is twofold. One is a personal Jew. I have Torah mitzvot for me, but there's a lot of that Torah mitzvot that is communal. I got to be part of a minyan. Having guests is involving other people. There's a lot of things that involve other people. And therefore, when we're judged personally, and we're judged also, how are you in the nation of Israel? Exactly. Where's your function in the nation of Israel? If a person lives in the middle of nowhere and he does the mitzvot, but he has no minyan, no Jewish school, no Jewish life, and no nothing except for just him and Hashem, that's lacking a lot. You're not connected to Bnei Israel. And we live in Jewish communities, and we're connected to the news. We're connected to our brothers and sisters, their suffering, their happiness. So that's what's going on as well. So now plugging that mentality of being part of Bnei Israel into the sheep, mountain, and soldier as well, we could come up with the following. When it comes to individual sheep, we spoke about that the shepherd sees if they're healthy, if they have the brand, if they're present. But also there's the flock, there's the whole sheep as a group. And therefore, how do you interact with your neighbor? How do you interact with your family? How do you interact with your community? How do you interact with Bnei Israel? Hashem judges us how we fit into the tzibur, how we fit into the group. And, when it comes to honoring Hashem, there's a concept called Berov Am Hadrat Melech, with a majority of people. The king would come, only 5 people show up, right? It's not, there's 5 people here, 6 people, but this is beautiful. This is each and every one is a diamond, and I'm not a king, right? But if a king would show up, then it's like, only 5 people, right? But so Hashem is here at the synagogue. Hashem is there at the Beit HaKnesset. If we're there, we're showing Hashem, we're coming to honor you. We're part of Bnei Israel. And we're seeing all these beautiful clips. Even it's the first day of Selichot. We're getting all these clips at the Kotel, all amazing prayers and Selichot. It's unbelievable. That's the honor of a king. That's the
ladies and girls go.
Yeah.
My kids, they look at, wow, ladies and girls go. I said, no, not just the men. In Israel, the ladies and girls go every night. It's unbelievable. Today I was looking, I said, oh my God.
Yeah. She's there.
Every morning.
To the Kotel.
She goes.
Wow.
Well, she's there, I don't know if she got here in front.
Selichot.
She goes every morning, early to do sleep.
Wow.
I didn't know myself that women could.
Yeah, you could come.
Sometimes she told me,
Come in. Why not?
in the afternoon.
Yeah. If you're up early, come also 6 a.m.
Only because today I saw the video of how many ladies go to the kotel. I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
YouTube
Yeah.
and see something. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
My kids are like, Mom, ladies go to sleep.
Yeah.
It's not really a But maybe Ruth is right. We should go to the afternoon one.
Afternoon one.
Ruth, the afternoon one.
No wonder they give you a lead.
Yeah. So the first comparison is, how do we interact with the group? How do we interact with Bnei Israel? And also, let's say now compared to a mountain, there's people that are ahead of you in this mountain climb, people that are below you. How do you look at the people that are ahead of you? How do you look at the people that are below you? We're not meant to judge people, but okay, in a rough judgment, there's people that are below, people that are higher. So do I look down on them? Or am I jealous of them that are higher? Do I look down on, or do I try to lift those one up? Or do I try to be like the people that are ahead of me and try to look at the positive? So how do I look at Bnei Israel? How do I, not to meant to judge, but how do I look at them? How am I, someone that's not exactly like me? Oh, that guy's too religious. That guy's too this. And someone's just below me. Oh, you're too this. You have to be like me, and then you're fine. No, it doesn't work like that. You have to look at the people that are below and say, do you need help? How can I bring you up? How can people that are higher? I look at that person. They're doing all these mitzvahs. I wish I could be like that. I want to try progressing myself. And in comparison to a soldier is, you could be a great soldier, but if you don't synchronize with the rest of the soldiers, it could be haphazard. It could be a lot of issues. One soldier can't win the war. An army wins the war. When you're together, working together, that's how soldiers work. And a mashal of imagine a school puts on a play, and the play of the life of George Washington. So in advance, this kid, okay, you're George Washington at 5 years old, you're George Washington at 10 years old, and at 15, and 20, and this and that until he's whatever how old he was, 80. So now everyone is behind the curtain, and now it's okay. 5-year-old, go and do your thing, and they play the music, the little jingle, a little dance, or whatever. And the 10-year-old now go out. Now the guy, who's the 50-year-old George Washington, he's waiting behind the curtain. I gotta go already. I can't. My wife needs me at home. I gotta go. So I'm gonna go now. And he jumps in when it's the 20-year-old thing, and he does his thing, and he dances, the jingle, he juggles, he does his thing, whatever it is. He did it perfectly, but he did it at the wrong time. Right? It doesn't work. It's not right. It's messed up. So too, a soldier can be good, but you're not synchronizing, right? So too, Bnei Israel, you could, we're a great Jew, but no, that don't work with that guy. When he works with people, other that doesn't. We got to be able to work with people. We got to be able to connect with people. Right? We got to be unified. We got to be with Bnei Israel. That's every letter in the Torah is needed. One letter makes the Torah invalid. Every letter has its right place as well. I can make a Torah with all the letters in the Torah, but if they're in different order, it doesn't work. It's got to be synchronized. It's got to be orderly, and we got to work together. And therefore, this is how the Gemara reveals to us what the judgment is gonna be on. We're compared to sheep, we're compared to climbing a mountain, and we're compared to soldiers. And how are we in our personal life and relationship to Hashem, and in the general connecting to Bnei Israel? So there's a story that goes as follows. There was on Rosh Hashanah, a young rabbi made his rounds into. I might have said this story at shul one year. So on Rosh Hashanah, a young rabbi made his rounds to the hospital in Israel to blow the shofar for people that are in the hospital. They didn't go to shul, and he came into the room and with someone who didn't know about a shofar or wasn't so connected, and he asked him a lot of questions about the shofar. And he said that, let me tell you what I think the shofar is compared to. He said, okay, let me hear. He He says, look, I served in the Israeli Navy for many years. I was in a submerged underwater for like months at a time. And I became an expert in Morse code. Morse code. And, how to submit code to one another and not being, detected by the enemies. And I was able to send and decipher messages very quickly. And, after many years of serving in the Navy, serving in the Army, I retired. And that's it. I was retired. But then I was looking for a job. And I saw an advertisement. They're looking for a Morse code expert. And that to be part of the Army in a different way, in an office job type of situation. And they said to apply for the job, you need to come to this office between 10 and 12, and that's how you apply for the job. And he realized, it was that day, and he says, you know what, let me try going there. He got to the office at 11:50, with 10 minutes left. He sees a bunch of people sitting in an office, like, waiting, with like an application in their hand, and everyone's just waiting. All of a sudden, this person, he goes to the door to the officer. He kind of barges into the room. Says, I want the job. Said, what do you mean you want the job? And then he says, no, I want the job. I got the reason. I got the job. So he he goes in. They close the door. One of the office managers come out and says, everyone go home. This guy got the job. It's like, what? How do you get the job? This guy just came. 11:50, barged in. And like, what's going on? Right? So the manager tells everybody, you guys are here for Morse code. He says, you didn't realize you're sitting in a waiting room. We have music playing. In the music was Morse code. And nobody picked it up except for this guy. And the Morse code said, if you hear the code, barge in the office. And then you're going to get the job. And this guy was the one who picked it up. This guy was the one who picked it up. And so this guy's telling about himself. I heard the code, and I got the job, and this guy in the hospital. So somebody else over there said to the manager, I heard the code. I heard it. We're all Morse code kind of, I heard the code. But I saw nobody else running to the door. So I said, I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't go to the door. Maybe I shouldn't. Because tough luck. You lost out. So this guy tells this young rabbi, he says, when hearing the shofar is just a sound, but there's like a code behind it. There's more to it for sure. And therefore, the code needs to bring a person to action. You could hear the shofar and not be brought to action, then it's like the guy that sat there in the waiting room, he heard it, but he didn't do anything about it. We have to hear the shofar, and it has to bring us to action. And as we mentioned before, shofar is shipru ma'asechem, same words, is to fix oneself, try to change oneself, try to improve oneself. And therefore, it's not a valid excuse to say, I heard the shofar, but I didn't do anything about it. I heard the code, I didn't do anything about it. Sorry, you lost out. We have to make sure to do our best to take the code, take the shofar, and bring it to our heart and try to do what we can to fix and to change and to repair. Elul marks the beginning of the countdown to Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, the high holidays. But these days, as mentioned, are very necessary because, like we're planning for a court case, you got to plan, you got to be ready, and therefore these days are days that we can get ready. The Ramchal explains that, and I've explained this before, how to look at history. People often think history is linear, it's like a line. Right? Today is August 26th, tomorrow's 27, 28, 29, and then the day before 25, 24, that's in the past. It's like one long line of history. Truth is, for lack of better way, that's how charts are in history charts. Okay, here's year one, and you keep on going, 2025, 2026. But the way to properly look at history is like a corkscrew, like a spiral. And what it means is as follows. Imagine that first year is, back to the pie analogy, 365 days, each one a little sliver of a pie. Year 2, or like a CD. Year 2 is another CD under that. Year 3 is under that, under that, under that. So we're going down, we're year 57, 85, we're down here. Year 1 is all the way up here. It's another CD, right? So like a corkscrew or another CD. And then what happens is that, let's say on, people observe nachalot. Nachalot, when a person passes away, a yortzeit, day of passing. Let's say the nachala is the 1st of Kislev. So the 1st of Kislev, and that original pie of dates, is the same exact day, the 1st of Kislev, all the way through, running all the way through. Anything that happened on that 1st of Kislev is always connected. And that's why we observe Nachala's Yortzeit years later. Well, is linear. He died years ago. It's the past. No, it isn't the past, but today, let's say, is that Yortzeit, it's like the same day as it was 3 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. The same Kedusha that was put in. And imagine one of those years of that day was the day Hashem gave the Torah, the 6th of Sivan. Right? So every year we observe that as Shavuot. Right? So every year of Shavuot, as an example, has the Kedusha that was given on that first Shavuot. It's all that slice, all that day. So Rosh Hashanah, the 1st of Tishrei, when Adam HaRishon was created. So we're connecting to creation at Rosh Hashanah, the beginning of the year. What happened? So Adam HaRishon was created on day 6. So day 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 is the days prior to the creation, to Rosh Hashanah, the days in Elul. And you go even further behind, well, the world wasn't created yet, so what was going on then? Hashem was preparing. We're preparing for creation. So too, we're now in preparation mode in Elul, preparing for Rosh Hashanah, preparing for Yom Kippur. And we have to prepare. It's of course we show up the day of and we, it's valuable, but we got to prepare in advance. What existed before creation? Before creation, it existed the will of Hashem to make a creation to benefit us. Meaning, what's the function of creation in general now? The Chachamim tell us, it's actually a pasuk, Olam Chesed Yibaneh. Hashem created the world to do Chesed, because it's very deep, but to simplify, I can't do chesed with myself. I need someone else to do kindness with. I can't do kindness to myself. I need someone else to do kindness with. I need to give them tzedakah. They come over to eat at my house. I need to do kindness with someone else. In a certain way, on a very, very deep level, in a certain way, Hashem wants to do kindness. If he's just alone, you need to do kindness, so he created a world to do kindness with us. So Olam Chesed Yibaneh, the world was created on the foundation of kindness. And therefore, before the world was created, it was a preparation. Hashem wanted to do kindness with us, and it's coming. And therefore, as well, during this time, these days are called Yemei Ratzon, the days of goodwill, the days that we are having in mind for that judgment day. I want to do chesed with others. I want to connect with others. I want to connect to Hashem. I want to connect to man. And I want to do things in the right way. I want to recreate the world. I want to get to Rosh Hashanah. I want to be part of that recreation of the world. Adam HaRishon. And the function of the world is chesed. I want to be part of that. I want to be part of Bnei Israel. I want to be part of fixing myself and changing myself for the better. And that's what's going on in preparation. So let us hear the shofar. Let us take to action. Let us be proper sheep, proper mountain climbers, proper soldiers, be it for our personal life, be it for our communal life, the way we are interacting with Bnei Israel. And Bezrat Hashem, Hashem will grant us and all Bnei Israel K'tiva v'chatima tova for us and all Bnei Israel, Bezrat Hashem. And just a little hint that God willing on Shabbat, the drasha is going to take this also and get the community also prepared some different anecdotes than what I said tonight. Chazak Baruch. Thank you for recording.